that like an old school Chargers jersey?
It is.
Yeah, like Phillip Rivers and everything.
Well, I want people to know that I've been a fan for a while.
Forever.
It's not like
John.
just right now.
There we go.
Man,
It's working now,
man.
man. Dude, you switched sides.
Oh, it's good now?
Yeah, now you're freaking us out. You were like, so we sent you some questions. Do you see those, Josh?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I
And
like
so
it.
we just want to kind of get into some of that, and then it'll kind of just naturally flow in. I remember there's one running back, the last time they beat SC, who almost single-handedly beat USC. I think his name was JK. I think it was Josh Kelley. I mean, how many yards did you have that game?
You need to do it more like, let me introduce the record holder of the UCLA SC game. The man that rushed for more yards than any UCLA SC game, period.
Kelley off the left side has the hole and explodes. Joshua Kelley, a day to remember on the biggest stage in UCLA. On 3rd and 15, it's Kelley with a hole. Kelley hurdles across the 35. And he'll have the first down to the 28-yard line. See this every week?
We have seen it, and that time it was Jalen Hawk.
That's crazy. That game was just crazy, man. It was fun. It was always fun playing them, but it was awesome. That's crazy, like the record and everything. I didn't even know that.
So not that you need an introduction, Josh, because you've been hyping this up for about a week now, every day telling everybody that we know that we're going to interview you. But for everybody who's listening to this live and watching this live, and those who are going to watch it later this week, we have the privilege and really the honor to be able to interview Joshua Kelley, who is a former Eastside Lion, the first Lion on the football team to score points on our field, right, on a kickoff return. Was it the opening kickoff?
Mm-hmm.
Was it? That's awesome, dude. In addition, when you were at UCLA, you rushed for 289 yards against USC, which according to John Kwong, which is a good source, is the record between the rivalry that has not been beaten since, right? You still hold that record. And currently you are the starting running back for my team, if you haven't noticed, the Chargers. Starting this year.
All right, Josh, thanks for joining us. Everybody's excited. There's lots of people here and a lot of people who want to see this interview, mainly because it's you. We're doing this originally because of our biomedical program. We did some concussion stuff with our classes, and we thought this would be a really cool way of capping it off, not just having an NFL player, but having an NFL player that came from Eastside, that walked the same halls, that was in the same classroom, had the same teachers. We just talked about Miss Nish and Miss Stone Rock, and you're like, hey, I know those guys, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool for everybody. But we just want to do a little bit of talking about you, and who you are and where you came from, so people know that story, and then talk a little bit about concussions that go along with the curriculum too. So at any point you feel like jumping in and we forgot something, make it happen,
And for anybody who's watching right now, if you have a question for Josh, something either now or as it comes throughout the interview, if you write it in the chat, we're going to ask Josh these questions at the end. So any questions that you have, feel free to throw them in there at any time.
All right, Josh. So a couple things. I mean, we kind of went over, or Gonzalez kind of went over that about who you are and what you're currently doing. But I think really the whole story with you, as we know, because we've known you for so long, is that kind of what was your path, right? Because you weren't that kid where they were knocking down the door, scholarships that you had to go through every day, right? You weren't that guy. You had a dream and a goal, and you gave up a lot to go for that goal. So can you kind of talk about that process that you went through?
Yeah. It's crazy, man. So I remember being a student just like everyone was at Eastside, and then my senior year, right? And then I was a 2-star recruit at the time, only had one scholarship offer. So UC Davis, man, they came to this school. They came to campus, met the head coach. I went to a visit over there, and I was like, yeah, this is the place for me. I took it, and it was a great time. It was a great time there I had. But for me, I've always wanted to challenge myself. I've always had this belief that I could have played at a Power 5 conference. So it was really wild that my coaching staff over there got fired after my sophomore season. And I was just sitting there. I was like, man, I think I could really like go for this. I really think I could challenge myself and try to play big time Power 5 football. So I remember I was talking to the AD over there, and he was telling me, he's like, "You sure you want to transfer?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I want to go out this." And he's telling me like, "What schools you want to go to?" And pretty much, I told him I was like, "I can't go out of state because I won't be able to pay the tuition. So I'm looking to stay in the state of California." And he was like, "Okay, you can stay in California, but since we play Fresno, Cal, Stanford, San Jose," he's like, "these schools you can't go to." So he's like, "Only schools you can transfer to is UCLA or USC." So I was like, "Oh man, like 2 schools, and those are some of the 2 toughest schools to get into in the whole state." So I was like, "Darn, well, I got to give everything I got here." So pretty much after that, man, I just went after it. I remember I called SC. USC told me they weren't interested. So I was like, all right, that's fine. And then UCLA, man, that was my only shot left. So I just went in with everything I had. And then luckily for me, man, the coaching staff there, they took my phone calls. They gave me a shot, and I walked on over there. And yeah, man, just graduated from there recently.
Yeah. Hey, here's a couple of questions. Number one, was USC interested in you after that last game that you played against them with the 200? Did they give you a call and apologize, or did you just take it as that you already knew?
Ah, man, it's funny because I remember going into that game. You know, you don't ever forget when the school says they're not interested in you. So I've always had that in my mind when I was playing them. But you know, after that game, sheesh, man, they probably weren't really high on me after that. So
You get a reason, I'm sure.
And are you sure that you weren't getting the phone calls back because they thought you were Chip Kelly's son with the same last name? They're like, hey, this guy must be related. We might as well just
for real, maybe that was it.
could be.
Right on. So Mr. Gomez asked about your path, right? And you had more of a zigzag path to where you are now in the pros. But that path started here at Eastside, right, on the football team. And so just with that in mind, what do you feel like you've learned from your time as a Lion that you took with you to college and now pros? Maybe some skills, some just competencies that you have now that were developed or at least started at Eastside.
Oh yeah, man, a lot. I learned a lot at Eastside, a lot of skills I took with me to college, and even today, a lot of skills. I think just in the classroom, it's always about Lion pride. Just have pride in your work. And that's something that's just always something I'm going to tell my kids, Lord willing, one day, is always have pride in your work. Just always, like the coaches tell me now, it's your signature. Put your signature on it. Like whatever it is you're doing, homework, papers, research, take pride in it, work the details, and just be a good student. Show up to early. Like every single teacher I had always was like, show up to class early. If you're late, there was always a punishment or discipline for being late. And that's the real world. Like you can't show up places late. Like if I clock in to the facility late, you can get cut, you can get fined. That's just how the business works. So man, like there's just a lot of skills I learned. Obviously coaching, man, hard work, discipline. It's just, that's what it's all about. Hard work, discipline, and always having pride and taking care of everything you need to do.
Yeah, I kind of creeped on you a little bit here. I looked at your transcripts because I knew that you were a good student, so I wanted to throw this out because people think that athletics is important, which it is, and athletics is important, but they go hand in hand. And I'm going to just say Josh had a 3.38 when he graduated, right? I always remember Josh was a great student, but I always remember the smile because that's.
Thank you, man. I was trying to get a 4.0, so for all you students out there, man, get a 4.0 for me. You guys can do it.
We had a discussion a second ago before we got on about Josh. He would be sitting in class and taking a test, and he has this signature thing that when he's taking a test, it's like he has this vision of what's happening, like a study guide that he's taking a screenshot of, and he's sitting in class just looking up like the study guide is right there, and he's looking up there looking for the answer. And I always remember that about Josh.
Yeah, man. Especially, man, Miss Cleveland knows in second period, anatomy, when we ever were taking tests, it's always, that's just muscle memory for me. Just, okay, I looked at my study guide. I know to the point where it's like, all right, I just use different tricks, you know, just to bring back some memories. Whatever works for you, that's just what it is. That works for me.
Great. Josh, so we did talk a little bit about our biomedical program and how we're doing concussions, and we just did some concussion certifications for all of our sophomores online through NFHS. We had them do a concussion campaign just to bring awareness to concussions and concussions in sport. So we wanted to kind of go to that route a little bit, and then maybe we can go back and get back to where we were. But, you know, you've been at so many different levels. And earlier today, we interviewed an athletic trainer at Riverside City College who gave us some information from the medical side. So we're looking for some information, kind of your experience with concussions on the athlete side. So one of the things is we want to know is, how do trainers and team doctors deal with the reality of concussions on the field? You play football. I mean, obviously, you know people, you know, that have had concussions, and you've been in that situation. Like, how do those team doctors and trainers really deal with the reality of concussions?
Yeah, that's one thing I could say about my football career, especially at the age and like where I'm playing at now, is just concussions. They're on top of it. The trainers, staff, coaches, everyone is on top of it. The league is. And it's awesome, you know, like what they're doing, they're always prepared. No matter what, they're always prepared. If you get hit in the head, they're always going to come up to you. Wait, are you okay? How are you dizzy? Like, what are the symptoms? They're really on top of it. And for most teams in the league, I know every team in the league should have this, but there's a blue tent. Everyone has a little blue tent they go to. And, man, you got to go through that protocol. You have to understand exactly what is going on. And the great thing about it right now is if you have a concussion, you're not seeing the field. So that's awesome, man. But for the most part, though, their trainers, they're prepared, and they've done their research for sure.
Yeah, are they educating you guys of how important it is to be honest about it? Because, you know, as an athlete, hey, I want to get back out there. I can help my team down, right? You know, that competitive spirit, and I know you, I know how competitive you are. That must be a hard thing to just be honest about it and think about your health over what's going on, right?
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Because for us, definitely, you know this too, Coach Gomez, like, you just want to get out there. You always want to, like, just compete for your teammates, the coaches, the fans, everybody. But at the end of the day, man, like, they really educate us. That's like, hey, look, one game is not going to decide your whole life or your whole career maybe. So just be smart, you know, be smart about it. They're definitely educating us. Just look, man, just you'll be fine. It's just one game. Let's move on to the next and let's be safe.
Great. So you've been at a lot of different levels. Obviously, at high school, we just had an interview with the athletic trainer at Riverside Community College, and he said he was the head trainer at Chino High School. And at that time, when he was the head trainer 19 years ago, there was only 30% of high schools who had trainers. Okay, now he said we're moving towards that spot where we have about 60. We still have a big gap in that, but you've been at all kinds of different levels. What's the major differences? And I'm just going to say college and NFL, because high school, there's obviously a huge difference between Eastside High School and UCLA, right? With the coaching staff, but I'm talking about medical staff and everybody who's on you, right? So what major differences from a school like UCLA and the NFL?
Yeah, I would definitely say the trainers, it's very, some things are very similar more than often. Some things are very similar, just the way the protocol is, the education. But I think how I learned was once I got to the Chargers about just how everything is done, like before you even sign, when you're doing the physical, you're doing concussion protocol, you're doing concussion testing. They want to see where you're at. They want to see everything. In college, we didn't really do that so much, but at the NFL, they're like, okay, we want to make sure, you know, you're good. How many concussions have you had before? Everything, testing. So it's just a bunch. It was a bunch of testing that NFL has done, and it's awesome, man. It's really good because, like you and like me, man, I want to have kids. I want to be able to talk to them. I want to be able to be there in their lives, man. So that's important. So I definitely think that's one thing that's been a big of a difference is college. There was some, I guess, minor introduction to concussions, but NFL is really on top of it, man. They really are.
So I would imagine do a lot of baseline testing, right?
Yeah.
They have that information available so that when on the sideline they're doing the testing, they have this baseline that they can compare it to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Definitely.
Great.
Very cool. So like Mr. Gomez said earlier, at noon today, we interviewed an athletic trainer, and it was good to get his perspective on protocols. So he was saying some stories, some good, some scary, about things that he's seen in his field. He's been doing it for, I think, 20 years, he said. But that there's all these protocols that they have in place. So there's questions, there's certain things that is just textbook, what you do if you suspect a concussion. So we just wanted to get, because we're going to show our students this, right, from an athletic trainer's point of view, and then from an athlete's point of view. In the event that you are like, you feel like you're having a concussion, so, you got hit kind of hard or something, or you hit somebody kind of hard, we'll go with that.
I would like that one.
I'm on your side, remember. Like, what are the protocols on your end if you feel like you may have a concussion or something is going on that way?
Yeah, man, so crazy. I remember I actually have had a concussion before, and man, it was scary. It was a crazy experience. I remember it just felt like for guys who played Call of Duty or played any of those games, it feels like getting hit by a flash grenade, and like you're all dizzy, you're stunned, you're just like, whoa, what's going on? And it's like, it's crazy. I was so dizzy, I was just really just off. I was just kind of like losing my balance a bit. Then I get to the sideline, and then it just seems like I just went blank. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, whoa, it doesn't feel like you wake up, but it just feels like, whoa, how did I get here? Where am I at? It's a scary process, man. It's wild. And ever since that day, I've been really grateful for everything football has done in terms of concussions, making sure that we are safe with the helmets, everything. And the protocol, man, it's awesome. The protocol is dope. They'll take you in the tent. They'll test your reaction time. They'll make sure, like, okay, follow my finger. They'll also test your comprehension skills. They'll give you like 5 letters, and then they'll talk to you for like 2 or 3 minutes and tell you to repeat those 5 like letters or 5 words. So it's, man, they're doing everything they can in the protocol. It's helpful. It's useful.
And Josh, so we talked to the trainer, like he said, and he said one of the scariest things is concussions. He said, if there's a physical thing, broken bone, whatever, those are things that I can see. Those are things that I can evaluate. Concussion is a little bit different. We can't see inside the brain. I mean, we can use technology to do CAT scans and things like that.
Yeah.
But for people who have had a concussion, people who understand concussions and where they are, it is a scary thing because it's not a visual bleeding or breaking. It's something that you have to tell us is going on,
Exactly. And I'm telling you, man, as an athlete, it's like, I want to get back out there. I want to play. Or for some guys, they have a big game next week and it's like, I can't be in the protocol, so I'm going to just hide this one out. But it's so much bigger than that. Me experiencing a concussion, I can tell you firsthand that it is not worth it. Like, that's no joke, man. Your brain is literally no joke. It's not like, okay, here I have like a sore rib or a back or a hamstring. No, that's your brain, man. Like, that's important. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that kind of goes with the next thing is you mentioned helmets, and like the protocol, like the safety of it. But like, and there's obviously rules now that are a little bit more honed into like protecting players. And I remember being a kid playing Madden, the video game, and you open it up, you plug it in, you start right away, and you have like the highlight reel at the beginning of those really hard hits.
Yeah.
I would like celebrate that a little bit. You don't have that anymore.
For real.
I remember looking forward to that when I was a kid.
They got rid of that.
Yeah. But when you're on the field, right, and you're playing, you're in a position where you're going after it. What are things that you do to protect yourself? And this is going to tie in a little bit to what the students did in our classes, where they had a concussion awareness campaign, and one of the categories they had to research was protecting yourself. Mm-hmm. So as an athlete, as a running back, how do you protect yourself on the field?
Yeah, great question. It's will change. Yeah, it's tough because for me, man, like playing running back, you're taught like lower your head, run through contact. Exactly. And man, there's been a rule change recently where you get flagged now. You get penalties for lowering your head at certain moments. So it's really about making sure you can see exactly what you're hitting. see everything, and make sure, man, like wear the proper equipment. Like there's some of these flashy helmets that a lot of people like that they're stylish, but some of those flashy helmets are not very good for your head or your brain. So you gotta wear the right helmet equipment, and there's a lot of good ones out there with great technology that absorb some of these collisions. So I'm wearing the perfect helmet right now, I can say. I'm definitely safe. I'm conscious about that. But playing the right way, man, making sure you're seeing what you're hitting, great helmets, and just making sure, bro, like just saying safe. Like sometimes like, all right, I gotta go down. All right, like don't use your head all the time. Like some guys just hit with their head all the time. Make sure, keep your head out of it.
Yeah.
This is great. Josh, a couple questions and kind of a last one, and then we'll kind of go to the questions that people are asking in the chat here.
Yeah.
So we've had this conversation already. You've walked the same halls, you've been in the same classroom, same locker room, same field, same buses, right? Like same teacher, same everything, right? So when you talk to a current high school student, here or somewhere else, that's dreaming of making it big because they see you, but they don't see all of the stuff and all of the things that you had to go through. What is some advice that you would give to these students who want to make it big one day, like Josh Kelley?
Oh man, thank you. Oh, there's a lot of things I would say, but for all students out there who who have dreams, who have goals, whatever you want to do, you want to be a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, athlete, anything. I think the best thing, something I did, was always just vision about it. Like I remember, even as early as elementary school, middle school, even high school, I always dreamed about being NFL. I saw myself playing on the NFL field. I saw myself on Monday night, Sunday night in the Super Bowl. I felt that way. I've always believed that way. I've always walked it. I've always walked like I was in the league before I was. And that's something that really helped my confidence. And it just really helped me get to each ladder, stepping stone, all that stuff where it's like, I've already been here. I've seen myself do it. I'm not surprised. Another thing I've also say, man, is just, it's kind of sound cliche, but it's also about academics. You really can't. I'm telling you right now, I've played with so many great players, and it's all about academics. You can't get anywhere, college, even professional, man. I had a lot of scouts talking to me about after college, like, what was your GPA? Where you going to class? Because they'll find out. They'll find out for sure. And that's so important. If you want to do what you have to do, you have to graduate, got to get that degree. And that's huge, man. And also, one thing that I would love to say that's really important is just perseverance. For me, man, I'm not the most talented football player at Eastside High School. I wasn't the most talented player in the whole Antelope Valley. There was a lot of guys who were way more talented than I was. But one thing, I had over them was just I wasn't going to give up. I loved the game of football. I had great character. And those things will take you a long way. Work ethic, character, and perseverance, no matter what. That will beat talent. It really will. There's guys who are talented, but talent will not get you as much places as hard work, character, and just love for what you do. And those three things, I'm telling you, if you have hard work, you have great character, you love what you do, and you're excelling in the classroom, the sky is the limit. That's really what I would tell people, man. Like, just, I'm telling you, talent will get your foot in the door, but it won't get you through the whole door.
That's a good scenario. It's funny, Josh, that you say that because, when you look at you were at UCLA, you're going to the NFL, and we thought prospectively you would go into the NFL. It's funny because in my box here at school, I got letters from the Raiders and all, and I'm thinking, I'm getting these letters about Josh Kelley, who ran track for us, right? We're his high school coaches. Like, why you didn't know at UCLA? Why don't you talk to them? But that didn't go away. They wanted to know who you were from then, and they wanted to know who you were now, which I always thought was crazy because I'm like, wow, that guy was in high school. But they're really going back to find out what your character is before they're putting you out on that field.
Yes, that's the thing. You just don't know. You never know. Like in any job, they're going to do your research. They're going to do your background checks. And if you want to play sports, whether that's NBA, NFL, MLB, soccer, anything, man, they're going to go back to high school. They're going to go back, talk to the people. So I'm telling you, for some of you students out there, make sure you don't make friends with your teachers. Because you don't want to say something bad about you and your character, So at the end of the day, just be yourself, though. Be yourself for sure. Take care of business. Be a great person. Be a great character. That's going to take you so far.
Every time we hear about Josh Kelley, like all of us that know you, character is one thing that we always talk about with Josh Kelley. Like, you always hear people who say, hey, Josh, you say these people they're great people, they're whatever, right? But this is legitimately a case where you couldn't meet a nicer person. Just, we've always had such a good time, like riding on the buses and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
A super nice guy, and I don't think anybody could say anything different than that. We're going to go to a little bit of the questions that we have up here. I'll start. Dr. Kelley, I know you know Dr. Kelley.
Yeah.
Here when you were here, and UCLA alum. And he wants to know, what was your best memory at Eastside High School?
Man, this is tough.
Only one though. Your best memory, only one.
Oh, only one, man. There's so many great memories I've had. Like you said, Coach Gomez, those bus rides. Miss Cleveland was there too. Man, those bus rides were so amazing. Like everybody, my whole class. It was just some fun times, man. Going to track meets, go out there. We smoke the other team, come back on the bus, have some fun. Man, it was fun. But I definitely think, man, the best memory. There's nothing like beating AV, man. There's nothing. There's nothing like that. So I remember we played those guys in my senior year. We got the trophy. Man, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to do that. I think that takes the cake.
That's awesome. Another question we had from Mr. Tilton, an English teacher here at Eastside.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to know what you got your degree in at UCLA.
Yeah. So I graduated in sociology. It was pretty dope, man. I love that course. I love the whole entire course. It was awesome, man. Like, there's just so much into sociology. It's just a bunch, whether it's just violence, research methods. I really like learning about people, interacting in the world. It was great, man. It's great. I mean, sociology and psychology kind of overlap a little bbit. So it's awesome, man. That's what I graduated in.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So, Josh, we have one of our students, Rebecca Montalto. She's a huge fan. She did a poster on you. It had I think she was doing maybe a journal on somebody who she respected. So I'll get it to you. I promised her yesterday.
That's dope.
But she does have a question for you. She said that she dreams of playing softball at UCLA, and she wants to know what your best memory of being a student athlete at UCLA was.
Okay. First off, Rebecca, thank you. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. I'm humbled by that. That's dope. I really want to check that poster out because that's awesome. That's really cool. So I'm really grateful and thankful about that. And I know you have dreams being a softball player. You're going to do it. I'm letting you know right now, you're going to do it. Just believe it. See yourself doing it. And no matter what, just don't ever give up. You will do it. Trust me, you will do it. And my best memory of being a student athlete at UCLA, man, there's a lot of memories. There's just whether it's you're practicing all day, meetings, and you go to class at 7 o'clock at night, tired. Those are some fun times when we look back on it. But I definitely think my best memory, man, there's nothing like beating USC.
I'm finding a trend here. I'm finding a trend, Josh.
No, I know. I'm finding a trend. It's just, I'm telling you, those moments are so special, man. Like seeing how Westwood is, it's crazy. It's dope. And that was a fun moment because I remember all week we had the bonfire for SC, and then everyone was they're all turned. Social media was going crazy. And then we played them at the Rose Bowl. We got the win. And then, hey, Westwood, it was a nice night over there.
That's awesome. You got a question for Mr. Vieira, the vice principal here at Eastside this year.
Nice.
And he wants to know, he says, can you talk a little bit about your training regimen leading up to the combine? Because you had great numbers there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh,
hey,
man.
Josh, before you get there, I don't know if you've heard this, and I'm sure Speedy has texted you, but he's upset with you because he said in that 40, he could have helped you out because you pulled your hand up too soon.
Yes. I know. It's crazy, man. My technique, that's the thing about it, is sometimes it's okay, you kind of all the technique, man, it can just go out the window, but you have to relax. And man, luckily for me, it worked out because it didn't go that way for some other people. But man, the training, it was intense. It was very intense training. I remember So I graduated, and then boom, coach was like, hey, we have to get into this. My coach at UCLA, his name was Kevin Heiberger. Oh, man, he's great. So he was at IMG, at BYU, and, like, this dude was really great. He's one of the best speed coaches. And I remember I just worked with him. We were just at it every single day. It was Monday through Saturday. We were just working all the time on 40-yard dash starts, bench press, working on everything, vertical jump, broad jump. Oh, man, we're going crazy at it. But the best thing about it is that some guys work you and work you and work you to death. But we just had an intense training session for about 2 to 3 hours, and then it'd just be recovery after that. And that's it. We didn't have like 3 workouts a day like some other cats do. It was just one session. Let's recover. Let's watch some film. And that's what it was, man. So it was awesome. And he's Coach Heiberger. Man, credit to him. He got me right.
Great. Hey, Miss Nish has a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Nish wants to know, if you weren't playing in the NFL, what was your post-college plan? What did you want?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I actually had a lot of plans. I wanted to be a director. Yeah, crazy. That's probably a plot twist. But I'm really into screenwriting. I'm really into that. So that's something I'm actually doing right now. I'm getting into it more. But I really love it. I love screenwriting, and that's something I really want to do is like maybe direct a movie one day or screenwrite. That's something I really wanted to do.
I'm pretty sure if you want to do something, we're going to see a movie from Josh Kelley. I don't find that hard to believe.
We're going to film it at Eastside, you know.
Nish thinks that you're going to be a director turned actor. That's what she's going.
Yeah, I'll be kind of a corny, goofy actor, but I'll try.
Hey, do what you got to do, right?
Right.
Anybody? We're just. I think we got through all the questions. Unless we have anything else. Anybody else want to jump
give
in
people
real
some
quick?
time. I really appreciate it, Josh. As a teacher here at Eastside, like it's really cool to see someone who, like you said, walk the halls or in these classrooms and just to kind of watch you. So I've been rooting for the Chargers for a while.
Yeah,
and another reason to root for us. So we're wishing you the best, man.
Thank you so much, man. You're a Chargers fan, so you've seen it all, man. We're gonna get this going for you. We're gonna get this going for you.
I hope to see a lot more this year.
Yeah. We'll get this thing going the right way for sure.
Great. I got one more from Ayana.
Nice.
How was your experience at EHS, and who was your favorite teacher? Josh, I don't want to embarrass everybody by you saying my name, okay? But I think we kind of talked about your best experiences at EHS, right?
But it's okay. I can answer because, man, being an EHS student, it was cool. It was really cool because, man, my class, I had an interesting class, you know. I think every class was interesting, but I had some people, we were just all over the place. There were some really cool people, you know, who had a lot of passions, who had a lot of things they like to do outside of like football or just in general. I think my best time was definitely hanging out with them. And I hung out with a lot of people. It wasn't just specifically 1 or 2 people, one group. I hung out with a lot of different people, got to know a lot of people. And that's the best thing you can do is to get to know people, their stories, where they come from, the way they see the world. And that's really like, wow, like it will make yourself a better person. You'll know so much more by that. I think also, man, it's just crazy because I remember just thinking about my schedule. I was like, wow, I had homeroom, first period, second period, snack, third period, fourth period, lunch. It was just crazy, man. I just think like I took that for granted and then it just flew by. But man, it was awesome, you know, football and track. I think football and track, man, those were the best experiences, the best times.
I was gonna say, you know, one of the things that I think is very important for people to understand is that you weren't this one sport athlete, right? You were a great track runner. You were a great football player. I remember at Simi Valley, you ran the 100. You had to hurdle a kid because he ran into your lane in the 100.
Yeah.
So like you had those. It wasn't just on the football field. We actually on the intro here to this. There's going to be a video of you hurdling some people in the football field. And every time I see you hurdle somebody, I think about you at Simi Valley running down that straightaway, hurdling somebody who moved into your lane. So,
oh, man, that was crazy.
It's all about being a multi-sport athlete for you.
Thank you, man. Absolutely. And I pulled my hamstring the next one. So
we laughed about it because we said, we fought for you to he's got to get in the next one. And then you pulled your hammy and nobody wants to take credit for getting you in. So
Yeah, exactly, man. It's crazy out there. But oh yeah, by the way, I believe the question was also favorite teachers. Definitely. I have a lot of teachers, Coach Gomez, you, Miss Cleveland. Man, I remember I'm not sure if they're still there, but I had Miss Dabo, Mr. Butsky. I've had, man, there's just so many people who really helped me, help my development. Oh man, Mr. Andrade. I remember Spanish class. There's just a lot of teachers I've had, man, that it's awesome, man. But my junior year, man, it was great. Miss Cleveland, Miss Dabo, Mr. Butsky, Coach Gomez. It was just a lot, man. You guys really helped me so much get to where I'm at today.
it's funny that you say Miss Dabo, because Miss Dabo is saying that she's very proud of you in the chat window. So
Whoa, Miss Dabo's here. Wow, thank you. And I still use those SAT words today. Trust me. I know them all. I still use them. Definitely.
Well, I think we pretty much wrapped it up. I mean, as I can see, like, you know, Miss Stone Rock's on, all these people saying how proud they are, and they really want to thank you for being a part of this and for coming back and giving back to the place that you know, I know you're one of those guys we'll never forget, you know, and, you know, we called you on a whim. I texted you last Saturday and said, Josh, would you do this? And without hesitation, you know, when do you need me? Right? That's always who you are. And I think everybody's proud of you, and we want to say thank you for giving back to the place that you came from.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm humble. I really am, man. I appreciate it. And I couldn't be here without you guys at all. No way. Thank you.
Awesome, Josh. You're going to hear a little bit more cheering in that helmet. You'll hear our voices in your head. All of us pulling for you.
Yeah, right? I love it. That's what we need.
All right. Thanks for coming up, Josh, and thanks for spending some time with us today.
Of course. Absolutely. Thank you. If you ever need anything, just let me know. Thank you.
Will do. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
God bless you guys. Thanks.
Bye-bye.